Charlie Munger, 5 Simple Steps to Successful Investing. If you've never heard of Charlie Munger, you're definitely missing out. Charlie Munger is a learning machine who built his system of mental models. His unique view of uncommon sense is seen in how he invests and builds his wealth. Munger is almost as forthcoming with his investment thoughts as his pal Warren Buffett. In his must-read book, Poor Charlie's Almanac, Munger puts forth a 10-step checklist that even the most inexperienced investors could benefit from. He started Wheeler, Munger & Company in 1962. The partnership was wound up in 1975. Back-to-back 31% losses in 1973 and 1974 made investors squeamish and in need of capital. Yet, despite the losses, Munger outperformed the market, earning a 19.8% annual return over the 14-year period compared to 5% for the Dow. Building wealth is a topic that can spark heated debate, promote quirky get-rich-quick schemes, or drive people to pursue transactions that they might otherwise never consider. But is 5 simple steps to building wealth and invest a misleading concept? The simple answer is no. Today I'm going to fill you up in this space, and you can be proud later on to say I'm financially secure if you listen to what this billionaire has to say. It is thanks to his advice and vision on value investing that Warren Buffett changed his methodology for selecting stocks, a method without which Berkshire Hathaway would hardly be what it is today. So how did he do it? What was his successful investment steps he took to become financially independent? Before we jump into that, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to get more interesting videos. Now let's dive straight into our video. Know when to fold them. Life, in part, is like a poker game, wherein you have to learn to quit sometimes when holding a much-loved hand. You must learn to handle mistakes and new facts that change the odds. Mistakes are an opportunity to grow. How we handle adversity is up to us. This is how we become personally anti-fragile. Don't panic when the odds change. In 1969, Munger considered whether or not to invest in Berkshire Hathaway stock when he found out that it was about to go public. He wrote, "I had a terrible feeling about it. I thought the odds were overwhelming against us doing well because we didn't have any manufacturing and most of our business would be taken over by IBM with its big unused research capacity. We could never compete with them on price, and now they seem determined to crush us by investing huge sums in new technology. My instincts told me to sell at that time." He did not panic and instead used this opportunity to learn more about the company, its management, and the industry. Had he panicked, it is likely that Berkshire Hathaway would have failed because of his lack of knowledge at the time. You've got to have soul in the game of investing. I also learned that day that Charlie Munger is an incredibly generous man. Over breakfast, he gave me an hour and a half of his time. In that time, I learned so much. The key lesson for me was that, in private investment, you don't just need to have skin in the game, you've got to have soul in the game. Most importantly, this proprietorial attitude must exist at managerial level. He explained that they only invest in things they understand very well. Companies with strong management, good products, and low risks. This strategy has led them to become one of the most successful investment opportunities out there. By applying this same strategy to your investments, you can achieve similar success. One of my favorite Charlie Munger principles is coming up. It's how the ordinary individual may become very wealthy. And this notion is investment strategy based on repeating what works. For Munger, it is better to analyze few assets thoroughly and to be patient when investing in them. He has repeatedly said that he finds it easier to focus on 5 assets where he has a high probability of getting it right than on 100. It's absolutely crazy to think that owning 100 stocks instead of 5 makes you a better investor. The big money is not in buying or selling, but in waiting. These are just a few of his signature phrases. Just as Charlie Munger has determined that it is better to focus on few assets where he has a high probability of getting it right, you should also adopt this same strategy in your investing. By doing so, you will have an easier time choosing the right investments and minimizing the risk of making mistakes. In the process of building wealth, knowing the mental models is very important. Know the big ideas in the big disciplines and use them routinely, all of them, not just a few. Mental models are the big ideas from multiple disciplines. While most people agree that these are worth knowing, they often think they can identify which models will add the most value, and in so doing they miss something important. There is a reason that the know-nothing index fund almost always beats the investors who think they know. Understanding this idea in greater detail will change a lot of things, including how you read. Acquiring the big ideas without selectivity is the way to mimic a know-nothing index fund. Approach to value investing. Let me explain. If you do not sit with your own thoughts and understand the rationale behind the decisions you take, you cannot lead a thoughtful life. The shortcut to being smart is to simply avoid being stupid, and this can only be accomplished by understanding why you take stupid decisions. Munger is also very conscious of his own biases, and his advice is that you should be aware of your psychological biases to avoid falling into consequent traps. Further, it is imperative to know what you do not know, since that forms the base of your decisions. If you are self-aware and realize that you do not know something, you can take proactive steps to correct this, putting yourself on track to taking more informed decisions. This is true for investing too. It is better to stick to the aspects within your circle of competence, instead of following trends blindly. The final piece of the puzzle is to think systematically about decisions. Focus on simplicity and build on pre-existing knowledge. Now, the question is, how can you build pre-existing knowledge? Munger is of the opinion that it is best to stick to what you know, instead of venturing out into the unknown, armed with little or no information. The actual Graham method of investing is based on simplicity, focusing on doing things or taking decisions which are within your circle of competence. That does not mean that you should not develop new competencies or skills. Instead, it means that you should take decisions only when you have enough knowledge and understanding of the different aspects forming the decision. In Buffett's words, investing is simple, but that does not make it easy. Great investing comes from a realistic approach, patience, and the courage to take informed risks. Why is building on prior learning important? Prior knowledge has long been considered the most important factor influencing learning and student achievement. The amount and quality of prior knowledge positively influence both knowledge acquisition and the capacity to apply higher-order cognitive problem-solving skills. Basically, to accumulate wealth over time, you need to do just 3 things. 1. Make money, 2. Save money, and 3. Invest money. Let's take a closer look at each of them. You need to understand these 3 simple steps to building wealth, and this will be fully explained in the part 2 of this video, so do well to subscribe to never miss out. The next is building a framework. Munger puts great emphasis on creating frameworks and mental models for making sense of complex issues. By doing this, you can take a step back from the situation and better understand what could happen, which will help you arrive at more informed decisions in the future. For a start, both of these billionaires believe it is essential to avoid high-risk investments at all costs. This means avoiding businesses that have a high chance of failure. It also means avoiding any companies that are difficult to understand or fall outside of your circle of competence. Following these guidelines should help any investor avoid significant losses from struggling companies or frauds. Investors shouldn't be in a rush to get rich. This might seem counterintuitive, but it makes a lot of sense. Investors who rush to get rich might take unnecessary risks that could be borrowing lots of money, buying stocks they don't understand, or allocating capital to opportunities that seem too good to be true. All of these actions can lead to significant losses. Therefore, the idea and principle of not being in a rush is a sort of speed bump that can help ensure you're not rushing into anything you don't understand or taking on too much risk. It's a very low-tech and straightforward way of trying to eliminate mistakes. By following this tip from Munger, an investor of any experience may be able to improve their process. Now let me offer you a horde of Munger's quotes, notion, and principles of becoming very wealthy. Consider and implement these important key takeaways. It is important to calculate But do not only focus on calculating without putting in adequate thought. You need to be able to spend time with your thoughts if you are keen on becoming a successful value investor. You should be able to understand and explain your failures, only then can you succeed. Even if people are not smart or absolutely diligent, they can grow through consistent learning. A year in which you don't change your mind on some big or important idea is a wasted year. Change should be an active part of life. It is important to recognize reality, even when you may not like it. To be successful, you have to be very patient, along with being aggressive at the right time. Reading, without thinking and reflecting on what you have gone through, is a waste of time. If you wish to be a successful investor, you must avoid being dominated by emotion. Instead, respond rationally and logically to market fluctuations. Investing and living well can be quite similar at times. Many of the tenets that guide good investing are relevant in our daily lives too, and lessons from Charlie Munger's life can guide you in both leading a good and satisfactory life as well as becoming successful investors. Principles of life. He has used all the knowledge garnered from years of learning and analysis to perfect a method which holds him in good stead through market ups and downs, and it is a method that all of us can imbibe, given adequate motivation and dedication. Indeed, if you follow his tactics and add dollops of courage and worldly wisdom to the mix, no one can prevent you from becoming a successful investor and a successful human being. After all, the guiding principles are the same for both. In Munger's own words, to get what you want, you have to deserve what you want. That world is not yet a crazy enough place to reward a whole bunch of people. A key part of becoming a successful investor is the ability to make the right investment choices. From that perspective, mutual fund investments can be an ideal choice for you, especially if you are keen on following the tenets shared by Charlie Munger. Mutual funds are investment vehicles that pool investor money and then invest it across different investment instruments and strategies based on the scheme mandate. Many mutual funds also follow the value investment strategy propagated by Charlie Munger. Fund managers look to invest in quality stocks that are available at a deep discount and hold it for the long term. While you can definitely try to adopt the value investing approach in single stock selection, it might be easier for you to go through the mutual fund route and let expert funds managers select the right investments for you and manage your money. By investing in mutual funds, you can easily follow many of the tenets proposed by famous investors and get on the path to financial independence. Now, if you have enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe so that we can bring you more videos like this.